Hi friends, welcome to another RedditRev episode. Please subscribe and hit that like button if you're enjoying the content, and please share it with your friends if you can. I'd really appreciate it. Also, please leave me a comment to let me know what you think of the episode. Now let's get started with today's stories.
Wife cheated before we got pregnant but told me after. I know every person and situation is different, but I want to make sure I'm not overreacting or being unreasonable. My wife, 25 of 1 year, told me 30 last week that she slept with 2 other men on separate occasions over the course and for a month before our marriage. We got married in March of last year. We had our typical stresses about the wedding, but to me that seemed normal. But due to some outside obstacles with the house we were living in and my parents frankly being overbearing, we didn't get off to a great start. The problems with the house were bad enough that we ended up moving and buying a house in May. That's when I noticed some issues. She seemed disconnected from me. We both traveled for work quite a bit during this time, at least one of us for 3 weeks out of the month. While the grind was tiring for me, I was always happy to come home to her and our pets. But it never seemed the same the other way around. Eventually in September, she told me she wasn't coming right home after a work trip and rather was going to take a weekend by herself. Upon return at the end of the week, she told me she was done and wanted to move. Me being the non-controversial person I was, I acknowledged her wants and accepted it as what would happen, but as we approached the holidays she began to change and wanted to try us again, so I went along with that because it made me happy. And we found out in January that we would be welcoming our first. All this sounds great, but there were things along the way that didn't make sense and always made me kind of suspicious. The weekend she didn't come home, randomly going out on Friday nights when the majority of our friends are couples and rarely do one-off activities without other couples. But the kicker was a Friday night in January when she wanted to get out of the house because I'd been home so much more and she needed space, so she rented a hotel room in our home city and stayed the night there. Major red flag to me, but again, me being me, I didn't say anything. Fast forward to a few weeks ago when the curiosity got the best of me. I had asked on at least 2 prior occasions and gotten denials, but she finally admitted that she had been sleeping with other men. One a coworker, which started while leading up to our wedding and continued for many months after, including a trip to La which I paid for her to go on as a birthday present. Oh, and the random weekend not coming home, random nights out, and the hotel room night. Another guy she had met and slept with on multiple occasions. This all blindsided me. We are barely a year into our marriage, just bought a house, and are expecting a newborn soon. I have my doubts that the baby is mine and already plan on getting a test ASAP. But am I wrong for having no interest in fixing our relationship? To her credit, she does seem incredibly heartbroken and remorseful that she did these things and hurt me, and says she understands my decision to not want to fix it. But I have no idea how I can believe her in this scenario. So my ask is this: am I in the wrong for seeking a divorce and co-parenting if the child is mine given these circumstances? Now for the next story. Pregnant wife cheated. My wife and I have been married 3 years and have a 2-year-old son, with a very recent pregnancy 10 weeks for our next baby. We both work from home and have been locked down for the past year almost, so living and seeing each other every day, none of which I am complaining about. I actually love being with the family. There are other stressors in my life though. I have low self-esteem. I stress about money. I stress about my extended family's health. I stress about my job. But I try not to let any of this affect my family life, at least with my son. My wife is fully aware of the stress I feel though. I have expressed I am stressed enough times, and I accept most of it cannot be changed at this time COVID. My wife and I are open with each other on everything, at least I thought, and we both have our faces registered for unlocking on each other's phones. Face it, I had full trust in her and never once doubted anything she was doing on her phone, no matter the hour or even lack of response while she was on social media. I let her have it, because I fully trusted her. Cut to last week and I was just bringing her phone to her from another room. The phone was lying down flat, and I turned the screen to face me like I generally do, expecting to see her home screen pic of our son. Instead it opened to her photo gallery and I found some barely clothed pics, and one incriminating one of her, lying down and slightly pulling her underwear. I didn't want to believe what I was seeing and handed her the phone, but it was killing me, and I had to confront her to ask what those pics were. Her first response was to just say I want to feel good about myself before I get the bump from pregnancy. I called BS on that and said you don't take pics in those poses for that. Pics in those poses for that. She confessed that she was sending them to someone, but that's all it led to. I didn't want to know who or how it happened. I was coming to just process everything. I chose to ignore it for that day, mostly because I was in shock, and also had to take care of our toddler. I was distant all day, not wanting to be with her. I wanted space. I browsed Reddit, Quora, any forum for info or advice that night. I had no one to talk to and nowhere to go in lockdown. I barely slept, and the next day I demanded to know who it was. Turns out it was a guy from work, and they had been using their work Teams chat to communicate. I asked her how far it went, and she said just the pictures. Nothing more. I suspected more BS and then asked to see the chats on Teams and on Instagram. She was hesitant. She didn't want to show me in fear of not wanting to hurt me. I know. Should have called it. I was getting more upset, but wanted to give her the benefit of doubt. But I told her I cannot continue until I see the messages. She gave more excuses of not wanting to hurt me, but I was beginning to see a pattern. The next day was a work day, and because we share an office in our house, I could see a few times she was furiously typing away on a Teams chat. No guesses who it was. I confronted her after work, and she still did not want to show the messages. I gave up. I told her I need to see this, otherwise we are separating. She came to me the following day and confessed that she lied. They did meet twice, and the last time was a week earlier when all they did was kiss. I got incensed. How could she? I knew they didn't just kiss, and compounded with all the trickled truths. It was even crazier to think I'd believe that. I demanded then and there, show me the chats. I knew she had deleted the messages on Instagram, and the slimy affair partner was trying to purge his chat messages. The sheer volume of messages was telling. I was reading messages for a whole 2 hours, going back 3 months. It started off flirty, then crossed a line becoming sexually charged, even expressing how they would fuck each other. She was pining for him on the chats, and what was the worst was that they both stated what they were doing was wrong, but continued with it. Now, we're in lockdown here, so can't really go out except for groceries, etc. Yet these two decided their escapade was worthy enough to forego the lockdown, and our marriage. We've been fighting every day since. I don't think she's remorseful, even though she says she is. She is becoming headstrong, suggesting that she also has her feelings, and that she doesn't have to live like this. By this I mean me looking through her phone now, not trusting her. She blames the affair on me not being intimate with her, not giving her the attention she needs. I tell her she has broken me, and thrown away our marriage. But she wants me to just get through it so we can mend the relationship. Writing this down, it feels like I am being a chump and taking all this. Maybe I am just weak. But I am scared of how our children will be. I love them so much. We have marriage counseling in 2 days. I am bracing myself for the criticism from her, and if she uses that as an excuse for what she did, I need some guidance on what to do. Should we separate? I am afraid I am not that financially stable to endure it, and we have a baby going to be born soon. How can I build trust when she's gaslighting? Sorry if this is long, I have no other outlet for my grief. TLDR, wife of 3 years, have a 2-year-old son, and a baby due in 8 months. She cheated with a coworker, first virtual sexting, then met up twice. Confronted her and she gave trickled truths, has deleted some chat messages and tries to gaslight. She's pregnant with our baby, and we have a toddler right now. Do I push through and try build a new marriage with her, or start looking at separation? The kids and pregnancy are a huge complication right now. And no, cannot really afford divorce.
I hope you enjoyed our video. It's always a pleasure creating these stories, and if you liked what you saw, please take the time to show your support by giving it a thumbs up and subscribing if you haven't already done so. Sharing with your friends is also greatly appreciated. Let me know in the comments section below what you think of our videos. I'm all ears. Be sure to check back soon for more original Reddit stories every day on RedditRev. Until then, stay awesome, my friend.